One thing that we also need to keep in mind here is that because nobody has any fleets and because everybody needs to hire PMCs, if this fallen empire wakes up or if the crisis arrives, well, let's put it this way, we generated a lot of value for shareholders in those last minutes, because once the crisis shows up, this galaxy is dead. I saw something in the patch notes, and it had to do with the wonders of privatizing military. Yeah, you can do that through the galactic community. So of course, I immediately set sail for PMC Holdings, where private military companies will allow us to get additional mercenary enclaves, and naval contractors, which will do the same thing. Plus, Imperial Fiefdom. What are we going to do with Imperial Fiefdom? Don't worry, you'll see. Let's dive in. Let's successfully privatize galactic peace. Now, for those of you who are familiar with the fiefdom origin, we will immediately be asked by an empire to become their fief. And in this particular case, it's probably a very good idea to become a military-focused one, the Bulwark. Why the Bulwark? Well, it's because we're going to get a bunch of technologies out of it, specifically destroyers, and on top of that, a bunch of other very cool things. Yeah, here they are, 5 destroyers. We get them for free. Immediately, of course, we're going to ignore anything that the Overlord wants, and we're going to strip these ships down to get all of the alloys from them, because why would we ever help the Overlord in this particular case? We're going to just go ahead and upgrade all of our ships down to nothing, strip them bare of all of their resources, because we're privatizing the military. We're not going to roll around with our own ships. No, we've got mercenaries for that. Now, of course, the first thing we're going to do is ignore all of these proposals, except for maybe the embassy one, because anything else is not really all that interesting, unless it's from a Scholarium, which we know that our Overlord does not have. Yeah, they just have a bunch of vassals, and it's not really all that good. They're also building an Overlord garrison on our world, but that's not all that important to us. Still, though, they're giving us all the resources that we need in order to build up ourselves, and not necessarily what they want us to have. Also, it looks like we have essentially gotten our Overlord boxed in. So good luck with that, Overlord. We're just going to go ahead and make sure that you will never get out of your corner. But you may ask yourself, ASpec, why did you go for a MegaCorp? Well, first of all, the civics are really good. Plus, if we are in a fiefdom, we can immediately deploy all of our holdings onto our Overlord's planets, which already has 70 plus pops on it, which means that we can drop 3 holdings on those worlds and get all the resources that we need essentially for free. So it's essentially free sailing from this moment onwards until we get habitats. Thankfully, because we are in fact a bulwark, it means that we can get to habitats relatively quickly. So let's continue onwards, claim our worlds, box in our Overlord, and just run amok, because the galaxy is our oyster, and whatever that oyster has in terms of military power, yeah, we're gonna go and privatize the ever-loving hell out of it. So we've successfully transitioned into being a bulwark, which essentially means that we will get ourselves a bunch of bonuses to defenses, but we will not necessarily get all that much energy, minerals, and food. Plus, on top of that, we get access to the most important technology that we're after, which is Starhold, because Starhold will give us access to Star Fortress and Citadel in a long run, which, if you're keeping count, also gives us access to something very important, which is habitats. Because we're a MegaCorp, we can't expand all that far, but it doesn't mean that we can't just spam habitats absolutely everywhere. Plus, any sort of ships that we had, well, we stripped those bare, and we're not going to run into any problems there. Let's quickly fill up these here systems so that we can get access to all of these delicious planets and start upgrading them as soon as we can. Weapons technology, who needs any of that? We're just gonna go full ahead and invest into our overall economy and try to get cruisers out as fast as possible. It's very important for us to hit that 50 fleet command limit as soon as we can, because when we do, we'll have the ability to build PMCs, and we can already build 3 of them right now, and once we have them, we can start hiring them out and essentially get infinite resources. What is also important, as I earlier mentioned, is the fact that our Overlord, who for some bizarre reason lives on a size 30 Gaia world, that will make a fine addition to my collection, has a nice little branch office that will generate us 34 energy a month if we set it up for $1,000, as well as 50 influence. Yeah, don't mind if I do. Oh, yeah, baby. 2 whole slots immediately. Where are we going to get the resources from? Well, of course, we're just going to sell food because we're a MegaCorp. We don't need all of that food. We're just going to go ahead and get all the holdings that we need. What kind of holdings? Well, how about some private enterprises to get more science out? And on top of that, if we can get, say, I don't know, some more, maybe fleet power? Fleet power works? Naval capacity plus 10? Maybe. I'd rather have some more minerals at the moment. We can always swap them around if needed. But at least they're already boxed in, and that's the most important part right now. So, yeah. It's time for our first Ascension perk. And what would it be? Well, there is only one real Ascension perk we can pick. Let's be honest here. It's Lord of War. Why? Mercenary Enclave capacity, plus 1. Diplomatic weight from fleet power, plus 25. We're going to need that in the galactic community, by the way. And Mercenary Enclave, under our patronage, pay more frequent dividends. Yes. We may not have the ability just yet to create them, but having the ability to do so right now is probably a good idea because, well, we don't know whether or not we're going to be able to finish another tree by the time that they become available, so it's probably a good thing to have. Plus, we're building up all our alloys slowly but steadily as well. And in addition to Isle 1, that's our capital world, of course, Isle 2 is coming online quite nicely, and Isle 3 is nicely blocking in our Overlord, who literally cannot go anywhere, which is exactly where we want him. And or her, I'm not really one to judge. But still, you know, there is a couple of other planets over here that we can happily put some more franchises into. Yes, I would love to build up a franchise here. What do we need? Consumer goods? Alright, well, let's set up a consumer good factory here. Yes, that will do nicely. You know how sometimes you roll a natural 20? Well, I've done the actual opposite this time around. I've rolled a natural 1 because not only is our Overlord boxed in, we are also boxed in by a fallen empire and it's a military isolationist right next door to us with a wormhole that we cannot use, at least the system. Oh, that's great. We only have really one escape route, which is up here, and I have no idea if there's any connections to the rest of the galaxy over here. So it could be that we are literally locked inside of a phone booth in a knife fight when the Emperor dies. Oh, this should be very interesting. There it is. There is the technology I wanted. Fleet command limit plus 20. That's the one. That's the kicker. That's the one we need. Why? Because then we can turn our fleets into size 30, which is exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to max this one out already, and we're going to start reinforcing these. By the way, all of these ships, useless. Absolutely terrible. It's fine. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. It's going to be 50 ships in an enclave for warfare that can be hired who have no guns, no shields, no armor, no way of getting out of the system, and they're gonna give us money. It's the perfect deal. I don't know whether or not has anybody noticed yet, but our energy income for 22-21 is completely insane. We're making 300 energy from just our branch offices. Our capital world of our Overlord is generating 104 energy a month. That is ludicrous. That is completely insane, and I love it. This is probably the most ridiculous start I have ever had. 563 energy at the start of the game, only 20 years in. We also found an exit. It's over here. It's kind of blocked. It's the only way out. So I'm gonna pull an analogy here. Have you ever seen The Fast and the Furious? I think it's the second or the third one, where there is a scene where a dude is being tortured with a rat on his belly, and then there is a bucket on top of it, and they heat up the bucket. Now, to complete this analogy, we are the rat, this is the body, and we're just, and this box-in situation is the bucket. We're gonna have to tunnel through the body to get the hell out of here. It's time. We're gonna start off our first PMC. Yes, we are 23 years into the game. We've got ourselves 50 ships in this Corvette fleet. Mind you, they've got nothing on there, which is fine. And tell you what, we can go ahead and create this here enclave. Yes, yes. Goodbye, and feel free to go ahead and generate us infinite amount of money, because, well, because we got Lord of War, and we'll be able to get more mercenary enclaves that way, and because we are in fact drowning in money right now, it means that we can essentially go ahead and say, you know what, those alloys, I would like to have some more of those, please. And tell you what, I'm just gonna go ahead and build another fleet, because I can build 3 PMCs in total, which is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to need to cancel, oh good lord, oh god, I need to cancel all of these, because I didn't upgrade them to the right type. They need an FTL drive. Give us a second. Alright, let's try that again. This time, let's build some Corvettes with FTL on them, because we need to move them out of the system and into the next area, because we can only have one enclave in one system, which is kind of important. So we need to make sure. How many science can you give us, sir? How many influence do I make? Not enough. Okay, so that's not something that we want at the moment, because we need more influence for the joys of the these things, the branch offices. Good lord, I almost forgot the name of it. Still though, one vision. It's primo territory. Probably one of the best Ascension perks you can pick at the start of the game. And let's get some research output here, plus some more research output. I have not, so far, as a bulwark at all, really picked any military technologies at all, except for fleet command limit increase at some point. Yeah, no military technologies anywhere. Why? Because screw the Overlord, I've got PMCs, okay? There it is, the first dividends. I would like to point out that we got 1,000 energy and a bunch of science. Who is hiring these mercenaries to make sure that we can get this dividend? Because, well, you may remember that this enclave over here had some ships, sure, but last time I checked, they did not have any firepower on them at all. Sure, they got some destroyers now, but yeah, they're gonna run into some problems in the long run here. But hey, energy is energy. Who am I to say no? Plus, our second PMC will be done soon as well, so that we can shower in a rain of credits, even though we already make 810 a month right now. 29 years into the game, and look, we can build yet another holding over here. Yes, give me a corporate embassy. I would love some more diplomatic weight from economy, please. So it's gotten to the point where I'm now building resource silos on all of my space stations, because I literally cannot hold these energy credits. I'm making 821 a month, plus the joys of yet another, I don't know, PMC coming in very shortly. I got another 50 ships over here that are going to be setting up yet another PMC very, very quickly, which will be yet another source of money. Yeah, it's a deal. Give me another PMC. Tell you what, we'll allow you to build a bigger fleet whilst we're at it, because you're going to need it, otherwise you're not going to be able to do anything. And it's just so dumb, man. I love everything about it. We have so much money, and the best part is the thief is just feeding us with resources that we don't really need, because we can just buy the galaxy at this point. Remember that bit when I was talking about that rat under the bucket? Well, there is no northern exit. This empire is also blocked in by a fallen empire. It's completely locked in as well, and this is not going anywhere. There is only one exit, and it's over here, and I pray that it goes somewhere. Otherwise, this is going to be essentially a third of the galaxy that is completely blocked in by 2 fallen empires with only 2 exit lanes. It's just so bizarre. I love it. It's time to get our third one up and running. Yes, there you go. Another mercenary enclave, please? Yes, that'd be great. You have some technology, it's a deal, and tell you what, you can also have some bigger fleets so that you can give me more money over time. I think that would be a great transaction, a great deal, and now it's just a case of waiting until I can get access to the galactic community somehow. It looks like there is a way out. Okay, that's good. That's good. Hiya, I would like to have a great relationship with you because I want to know what is beyond the exit. What is beyond in the wider galaxy. And don't tell me that you're blocked in as well, because that would make me really, really upset. It took a little bit longer than expected, but there it is. Habitats, we'll have it in 7 months' time, and then we can start spamming our space completely full of them, all of them generating pops, resources, etc. Overall, resources-wise, we're in a pretty darn good place. We're getting a reasonable amount from our Overlord, both in food as well as in other varieties, but I think that we're pretty self-sufficient, essentially on all categories, which is good, because sooner rather than later that Overlord is going to collapse, and then the party begins, and let's hope that we're going to be ready for it. With 3 mercenary enclaves behind us, we have absolutely no fleet at all, which doesn't matter because we can rally the troops just like that, and then we should be good. I literally have not invested anything in military technology at all, aside from my enclaves. It is bizarre how well this is working so far. It has begun. Apparently there's a questionable succession with our Overlord. Apparently there is a issue there, and before you know it, we may actually become safe sooner rather than later, or at least being released, and then we'll see what happens, whether or not we can actually keep all of these branch offices and try to contain ourselves. War fever, we're making almost 1,000 energy. We got a Dyson sphere worth of energy coming out of our branch offices. Yeah, what can we do here? Oh, this is crazy. Yeah, so Galactic Community, which we will join because we, like I said, want to privatize peace as fast as possible. And with our economy, we should be able to leverage that quite quickly. Let's hope that is the case, though. I'm a little bit concerned about it. I don't have any peaceful technologies here? Only military ones? Well, ion thrusters it is then, because you're not going to invest into military technologies. That's what the PMCs are for. But I am really concerned that, yeah, ooh, profit. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, that's... Oh, no, the relays are forged, which is a proud day, sure, but the Empire has been broken, and sure, we could take charge and become the leader, but I'm terrified to unpause and see what is going to happen if we still have control of all of these branch offices. Well, we almost reached greatness. We almost hit 1,000 energy a month. We were like 5 short. Now we're just back to a measly 300 energy a month. It looks like Security Contractors is up on the board, which means there may actually be peace in our time. Yeah, Security Contractors, which means that we can get another mercenary enclave and more trade value at a reduction of naval capacity. Something we don't really use anyway. Plus, we are an empire without a fleet, and we're still already the second largest empire within the galaxy at large, which is amazing. Yeah, we're going to cripple everybody in our favor. This is going to be a good experience. Sadly, we've gotten to the point where we can no longer expand because these guys don't necessarily like us enough to give us a commercial pact, which we need in order to deploy more of our franchises. Thankfully, due to the magical world of trying to get ourselves some favors, we can probably make that happen regardless. We've got endless moats. Maybe we can do something here. Could we come to a agreement here, perhaps? Do we have some additional resources here that we could deploy? Ah, yes, 300 of those. Yeah, let's do that. I would like some favors, please. And now we should be able to leverage 0.6 minus 6. We're close. We just need a couple more years to improve our relationship with them, and then we will be golden. Meanwhile, the civil war over in the former empire is still going strong. I'm not entirely sure what they're up to over there, but I'm sure they're having a ball. Let's put it that way. Also, my enclaves are continuously giving me resources. They are growing quite rapidly at the moment, and they could field over 10,000 fleet power, which I could potentially use to kick in the door of one of the other places, which, let's be honest here, for an empire that has exactly 0 fleet power, is quite an experience. Oh no, we've been declared war upon. What will we do? Oh no, effects. All branch offices owned by the PMC holdings in the Palatinate are closed. And they will and we have to give them 1,000 energy for every closed office. First of all, who are you? And why should I care? The Palatinate. Or, where are you here? The Palatinate. Kingdom of Bruvan. Palatinate. You're giving me, it cost me 19... You're giving me 19 in... It's nothing. Why are you even going to war over this? You have absolutely 0 things to do here. Like, you've got 2,300 fleet power. Let's just rent a fleet. Oh, that's 0 fleet power they have available. Well, that's not good. How about these guys? They do not have a fleet available at the moment. That's fine. How about these guys? They do not have a fleet available either. Okay, so I would like to rent a fleet off of you. And apparently they are going to have... No. No. Well, that's a problem. It's not as good as I thought it would be. Okay, we're going to need to get a little bit creative here, because there's watchtower dudes over here. And for some reason, we cannot hire those ships, which is a little bit frustrating. I would like to be able for you to share technology. It looks like that we can't actually hire these fleets, or at least give them any. Well then, okay, we're going to need to build a fleet. It's a little bit annoying, I know, but thankfully we can build battleships, which is very, very helpful, and I do have a little bit of technology to make that happen. So let's just build some ships, shall we? Corvettes, let's auto-complete that. Is it because I didn't finalize my ship designs, and now they're not updating them because of that? It could be. Well, we're gonna end this contract regardless, and we're just going to go ahead and build ourselves a fleet quickly and see what we can do here. And very quickly crank it out. They've got... How much fleet power, sir? How much do you have? You have 2,000. Well, they can't really do anything because I got 13,000 defenses over here and 4,000 over here. They literally cannot crack me at the moment, which is fine. They literally cannot do anything against me. So, good luck with this war, guys. I'm looking forward to see what you can do with that. Good news, everybody. I managed to hire a fleet that actually has fleet power. For some reason, this particular enclave is actually not generating any large fleets, which for us is fine. Like, it's not the end of the world, but it doesn't really matter. What it could do, however, is we could get some ground Peru troops here. So 15 mercenary armies for 2,000 energy is great, so we'll do that. And we will also try to... Can we get a fleet from these guys? No, but we can try it, though. Logistical support, naval capacity, I don't think so. However, we now have 5,000 fleet power ready to ram down the gates, so to speak, of this other empire, so that we can actually get some control over the space. Plus, we have a lot of new places where we can live. Why? Because, well, I built some habitats. Yes, I filled in my capital system full of habitats, and they're now aisles 6, 7, and 8, and they are ready to be used, which is exactly what I wanted to do. Trade district, which generates merchants, by the way, because we went mercantile, which can get us all the stuff that we need. Oh, look, it's research districts. Let's get those ready. We were actually just... This is usually not a very good idea what I'm doing here right now, by the way, just building up districts, but we have the resources to do so, and those slots need to be filled anyway. Yeah, let's give these guys a bit of a visit and see what we can do. All we need to do is kick down the doors and bring some fleets with us, because we should be in a good spot in that regard. Oh, there is our transport fleet. Yes, we'll see what we can do with those. Alright, engaging the enemy with our newly acquired mercenary fleet. Actually, that is our own fleet. Okay, that's fine. We have managed to crush them ever so slightly, which is great for us. Let's put them on the edge of the system, and then let's move forward. How is the... how is this... Oh, security contractors is coming along, which means that we can get another PMC very soon. And then we start forcing the next step in the process. By the way, if we win this war, we literally get control of them as a vassal, which is exactly what we want anyway. So how many people do you have on the ground here? 78. It's impressive, very impressive stuff to have 78 troops ready on this planet. To defend it. That is amazing. Well, it's not going to be too useful because we're about to drop about 500 of them right on top of your asses. So good luck with that. For an empire that actually doesn't have any fleets, aside from this quick one that I had to quickly cough up, we're doing pretty well. Security contractors in the bag, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we can get ourselves yet another PMC. We don't have enough fleet power in this one, but we can easily crank up a new fleet over here. And victory shall be ours. Yes, these guys are now a subsidiary underneath us, which means that as a subsidiary, essentially they have to pay us taxes. Plus, we have a bunch of branch offices in that area as well, which is going to be super useful. It means that our influence is growing within the galaxy at large, and we are now the biggest diplomatic power. For an empire, once again, that has limited to no fleet, that is quite impressive. So we're just going to go ahead and end this contract with this fleet because we don't need these ships anymore. Same things for these ones. Actually, these security contractors are just hanging out, so we'll just send them home. But regardless, we got ourselves a subsidiary. What a delight. Ooh, we can place an open building slot here. Now we... Alright, let's just help them out a little bit. Aid agency. Let's do that, because we already have private researcher and contractors and everything on that planet. And it's all coming up Millhouse in this particular case. Thankfully, due to the wonders of the galactic community, it is now illegal to go to war without having mercenaries hired as part of your fleets, which means that our mercenaries will have plenty of work for them, and that means that we can get more resources a lot quicker. Now, all we need to do is just go all the way to corporate peacemaking and basically put an era of pure bliss and privatized galactic peace. I do think I've managed to break the game a little bit. So I've continuously invested resources into this here mercenary enclave, and all of their ships are just hanging out around here, but they're all individual fleets, and they're not merging for some reason, and there is a... I literally cannot get this off my screen. It is... It is a bit broken, but in the meantime, I've also built a interstellar assembly so I can get additional envoys, which within the galactic community is actually really important. I'm actually going to go ahead and assign all of my envoys to the galactic community so I can get the amazing amount of diplo weight behind things. 11k, thank you very much, because we are trying to push galactic risk management. Yes. That means we can get another mercenary enclave. Only 113 years into the game, plus all the other modifiers. We're going to lose basically all of our naval capacity, just like everybody else. But hey, they're not going to be able to do anything about it. Plus, all these other empires are now at war, and they're not hiring mercenaries because I don't know why, but they definitely should. Turns out that squeezing through galactic risk management bit of a challenge. I had to become the Senate for this, and by that I meant getting a lot of corporate assemblies, getting a whole bunch of favors up and running from essentially everybody in the galaxy, and we're going to need to try to push this through as fast as possible. I may actually need to build a fleet to actually offset the needs here, because, well, we're getting pretty close. We're getting pretty close. Looking forward to see how this is going to pan out, because galactic risk management is going to cause some problems for some empires. Ah, yes, galactic risk management gotten through. Now nobody's gonna have any fleets anymore because everybody needs to get mercenaries. All we need to do now is get corporate peacekeeping, followed by military sanctions. Actually, if we can squeeze through military sanctions, that would be very nice, because empires that have been announced are in breach of galactic law, have penalties applied to them. What kind of penalties are we talking about here, and sir or madam? Let's take a look here. Ah, we're so close. We're so close. We're almost at corporate peacekeeping. I've got a wallet full of bribes ready to get everybody on my side. Oh my god. The enclaves just keep on coming in. It's like, hey, you want some money? Yes, I would like some money, because they've been working very hard across the galaxy to make sure that it just keeps rolling in. It's just giving me so much science. It's giving me so many resources. It's completely ridiculous. Like, we've got enclaves in nearly every single one of our systems. This is so broken, and I love it. Alright, the last stage is on the table. We just need to bribe basically everybody. Oh, wow, they don't want that at all. Okay, how about some exotic gases? Yes, you would love some exotic gases, wouldn't you? How about you guys? You guys want some exotic gases? Or some favors, maybe? I think that would be a great transaction for everybody involved. Maybe some Zro? Some dark matter? How does that sound? Ah, yes, they're gagging for that dark matter. Yeah, give me those favors. Oh, yeah, we're so close. In 3 years' time, we will have successfully brought peace to the galaxy for our wallet. Almost there. Oh, so close. So close. And wonderful. Wonderful. We have maxed it out. We have managed to get the galaxy completely privatized. Every mercenary enclave gains 50 naval capacity. The mercenary dividends are more frequent. We get, you know, the hired mercenary fleets take up to 25% less naval capacity, but sure, they've got a higher energy upkeep. We get 40% diplomatic weight with a mercenary fleet hired. And, well, if you don't have any mercenaries hired, everything is banned. So yeah, we get additional trade value, we get additional enclaves, which you've already deployed. Naval capacity is pretty much down to 0, which is why we're going to unhire these folks. There you go, that's that problem solved. Ah, it feels so good. It feels so good. Oh, we don't... Wait, what? Corporate peacekeeping? Really? We need to have them hired at all times? Really? Is that what's happening here? Hold on. Having no hired mercenaries is banned. Oh, that is amazing. I'm gonna go and get these cheapo ones. There you go. That should solve that problem. Oh, man. I literally have a fleet of mercenaries that are completely useless because I started out the game, and oh, what a way of making bookends on a wonderful, wonderful way of playing. It is the most ridiculous soft power scenario I've ever played with. I literally did not build any fleets whatsoever. Sure, I have some PMCs, and they're all over the shop, and while that is fine, everybody in the galaxy who is at war is essentially paying me dividends to hire all of my stuff. I've got so many enclaves that are essentially churning out fleets after fleet after fleet, and whenever I need them, well, I can just get the resources. In addition, there it is one, for instance. So much science as well. In combination, starting off as a... Just stop showering me with money. In addition, starting off as a mega corporation essentially allowed us to leverage the initial fiefdom by getting insane amounts of money, allowing us to expand quite rapidly. I could have done significantly more with this. I could have spammed outposts in this entire area, no problem whatsoever. And it would have been easy to do so. No problem to fix that and just completely fill things up in terms of getting our economy completely maxed out. It was wonderful. I think it is subsidiary 1 for Federation. No, Federation. What? What do you mean subsidiary 1 is left of Federation? That's my boy. That's my protectorate. Still, where can we go on from this moment onwards? Well, we could, of course, make sure that there are sanctions for having every single type of... if you haven't hired a fleet, you're basically screwed. That is a really fun way of doing things. Basically, considering now everybody has to have a fleet hired, otherwise they're going to be in breach of galactic policy, which essentially is going to cripple them. At basics, they will reduce fleet power from diplomatic rate from fleet power by -20%. The naval capacity is -10%, and that's essentially that. But if we go all the way up to the major variety, so if we go to the sanctions and we get major military sanctions in this particular case, moderate is active right now, as far as I can see. Yeah, so that would go into a case of that they would get -60 diplo weight from fleets, and of course fleets are no longer a thing in the galaxy anymore. Nobody has the power to actually field any fleets unless they have insane amounts of anchorages, etc. This is such a wonderful way of playing. I did not lift a finger. I only went to one war once, and that was because somebody thought they could take me, and I just bought a temporary fleet from one of my PMCs, and that was it. You just roll over them, no worries whatsoever. Almost no space. It's completely filled up with enclaves and stations everywhere. Like, it's almost impossible just to get through this. All my stations are like 21,000 fleet power. There's orbitals everywhere. There's mega structures everywhere. This is an insane way of playing. One thing that we also need to keep in mind here is that because nobody has any fleets and because everybody needs to hire PMCs, if this fallen empire wakes up or if the crisis arrives, well, let's put it this way, we generated a lot of value for shareholders in those last minutes, because once the crisis shows up, this galaxy is dead. It's going to be very dead unless people leave the galactic community and leave all this stuff behind them and just start cranking out fleets, because yeah, you're not going to be able to crank out the millions of fleet powers required to fight off the crisis, or any crisis for that matter. I would recommend you to go and try it out, because it is very, very different to leverage your soft power like this. And like I said, it illustrates how overpowered mega corporations are as part of an imperial fiefdom. What do you think? Is this something you want to try out? Is this something you want to have feedback on? Well, let me know down in the comments below. I'm very, very curious how this is going to pan out for you. In addition, if you want to support the channel more directly and don't want to go through the hassle of setting up a Patreon, you can use a new system on YouTube. It is called the Thanks button. Underneath every single video, there is a thanks, button. You can click on it and essentially give a thanks to myself or any other creator. Give it a consideration, because it would directly support the channel. We're going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons for making this video possible. And until next time, take good care of yourselves. And oh boy, play yourself some Imperial Fief MegaCorps PMC madness.